Love, it has been good to me this time around. Things were ill are bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact and I can find
eros do not dictate even. Hello and welcome to X-Rad Live, the talk show that really does get you talking. I'm Xander Gibb, and on today's show, obviously I'll be getting on my soapbox, and we will have some guests. I'm just going to share the show very quickly, and then I will come and say hello personally to everybody in the live feed. When I can, here we go. Put the links out there. If you are watching the show, please share. If we get 20 shares today, and I'll be checking it intermittently, before the end of the show, I will sing a song live of my choosing. And no, it won't be a Christmas song. And we will, and I will even sing to you. Oh yes, siree. So people are coming in now. I will come and say hello. As I usually tell you, we are live from an undisclosed location. On today's show, wouldn't you know it, the teleprompter messes up. The teleprompter messes up so quickly. Oh gosh, roll on Christmas so I can get drunk without worrying about it. On today's show, I get on my soapbox. Autistic author Dylan Vogt joins us. We have one of the guys from Heroes for Heroes coming to tell us about their latest project. I catch up with my good friend Thomas S. Schmitz from Conservatives for Palin to break down this week's hot topics. And I will be joining Joe Messina on the real side at 6 o'clock Pacific time. You can walk away and come back, Janie. That's absolutely fine. I see all these comments flashing up in front of me, and I want to answer, and I know that I'm reading the audio queue at the same time. As usually, I will be sharing your comments, so keep them as clean as possible, or we'll be telling Santa. You can call in when we get to that point, 845-363-4747. That's 845-363-4747, or via Facebook Live, but please wait till we get to that point. Please remember, please share the show so other people can come and join us. You can follow me on social media everywhere but Twitter because it scares them that I'm honest. Oh yes, sorry. And now it's time for Xander's Soapbox. So in a week where soccer players were subjected to racist and anti-Semitic chants while on the football field, Theresa May survived a no-confidence vote. We reveled in Mueller finally winding down and admitting defeat. And Ted Lieu wants to end free speech for conservatives. Whatever next? All of this and me outing a toxic narcissist family member. What a week. So I'm never surprised at the stupidity of racists and anti-Semites. And whilst they are entitled to their opinions, why can't they just stay at home rather than disrupt public events? So when you go to a ball game, sure, the ideology is to enjoy the sporting event. I wouldn't know because I'm not really into sport, as opposed to judging the religious diversity of players or the color of their skin. Now, whatever next, the country of origin of the leather made for the ball, I really despair. So Theresa May, she survived a half-hearted vote of no confidence regarding her presidency, her prime ministership. She's a conservative, Xander, I hear you say, and you should support her. Well, actually, she's a conservative in name only. She's a Steno. She's a liberal with sensible shoes, folks. So it's very hard to support her decisions. So she went back to Europe this week, begging them for concessions in the Brexit confusion, where she has forgotten that the UK is a sovereign nation. Time to step up to reason and leave without a deal and let them beg the UK for inclusion once they have left. Now, they know the EU will collapse as a result, and many other member states will leave, but the British people deserve better. Shame we can't get the Donald to negotiate this deal. So fancy that. The Mueller investigation amounted to zero, zilch, nothing, nada. Who knew? Now, to date, it's cost the American taxpayers, are you ready for this? $30 million, which could have built 6 walls and could have done untold good in schools and other public infrastructure. Now, millions of pages of documents were wasted, so more dead trees for absolutely nothing. And yes, folks, you guessed it, no collusion regarding the Donald, his family, or his administration. So can a not-so-special prosecutor be charged with treason? I am, of course, asking for a friend. Please tell me that now is the time to hire a special prosecutor to investigate Bathhouse Barry and Heinous Hillary. Now, stranger things have happened. I am keeping my fingers crossed. Then we get to Representative Ted Lieu, Democrat from California, who wants to end freedom of speech for conservatives. Now, check today's feed on the X-Rad freedom of speech page. Now, surely this line of commentary is worthy of impeachment. No? Oh, that's right. He's a Democrat, and the rules are different for them, right? So I'll have to ask Maxine Waters about that one. And finally, do you have a toxic, narcissistic family member? Then it's really time to cut them out of your life and stop that cancer from spreading. These people will do everything to convince you that you are the problem and that it's you who needs to change. It is, though, a sickness, and hoping and even praying for them to change is pointless. Now, whilst we serve a God of miracles, those with NPD, which is a narcissistic personality disorder, don't change and attempt to break your spirit and cause divide at every opportunity. Break the cycle, love yourself, and stop the rot. Better to have a peaceful existence than subject yourself to that kind of insanity. You know who you are because you're probably watching this right now. And finally, apparently JFK Jr. is alive and well and working at Walmart with Elvis Presley. The world has gone mad, people, and I miss having a gun. I really do. That was my soapbox for this week. Want to get on your soapbox? Go to xandergibb.com/contact and tell me more about what you want to get on your soapbox about. No profanity, or we will tell Santa, as I said, and you could be here waxing lyrical very, very soon. Okay, yes, sir. Let's go to the live feed and say hello to everyone that's in there. Let me go backwards. Hello to Janie. Hi. Hello to Zell. Welcome. Hello to Carla. Welcome. Hello to Justin. Hi to Chris, who's listening in the UK. Hello to everybody else that's listening, but not in the live chat. Please share the feed so that we can get more people to come in and be a part of the live chat. And we can get a wider audience and get more people involved in the conversation. So tell us in the chat feed, what did you think this week about Ted Lieu saying that he wanted to cut off our freedom of speech because we are conservatives? How does that make you feel? I know how it makes me feel. I'm glad I'm not living in California, or I would have to, the Zenny G would have to roll on down to his office and give him a little bit of grief. Oh yes, siree. Zell says, shared to the group, the deplorable hillbillies. Thank you very much for that. Do I have to do the show in a hillbilly accent now for the rest of the time? I don't think I could do that because it would really give me pains. What else did I want to tell you? I told you, yeah, if we get 20 shares, I will sing out the show. I will sing live at the end of the show if we get 20 shares. And I think it's time for me to introduce our first guest, if I can get the cue prompter to work. Now, Gerard Leonard from heroesforheroes.org is going to join us in a moment. On September the 12th, 2001, Donato Panico loaded up a food truck and drove to Ground Zero to feed search and rescue workers. He cooked from a mobile catering truck for 10 days at the World Trade Center site. Nearly 15 years after, he continues to want to show his appreciation again for these first responders and those that have served our country. So he makes sandwiches and turkeys along with volunteers, lots and lots of them actually. The Heroes for our Heroes Foundation gives away more than 3,000 footlongs heroes and more than 200 turkeys to firefighters, police, and veterans on Long Island and New York City every year. But they're all local branches of this organization. And his employers at Panico's Community Market in Smithtown, if you are local, make sure you pop in and tell them that Xander sent you. So I'm going to bring on now their co-founder, if I can work the technology. Who wants to come and be my producer? That's what I want to know. So here we are. It says it's connecting. While it's connecting, it's ringing. And it's connected. Hello, do we have a connection? Hello? Hello, Gerard, are you there? Well, I guess it's playing up tonight. I will close the call and we will try again. Eluded by the technology of it all. Yes, Carla was saying Ted Lieu is trying to circumvent free speech, not promote it. Free speech for Democrats, that is, he's trying to... Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hi, Gerard. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I am wonderful, thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us. I always ask people before we get on to the serious business. You're in New York. Tell me it's
Hello?
like hello.
Yeah, you went out on me for a minute.
I'm sorry about that. It's the technology. So please tell me it's 80 degrees in New York and sunny. Is that right? Hello.
Hello, I'm back.
Right. So we'll skip the weather report. So I don't know if you heard in the preamble that I was talking about how your organization started and what happened, what you were doing to assist people on 9/11. Tell us a little bit. Let's bring us up to date. What kind of things are you doing right now to help first responders, police officers, etc., and veterans? Hello? I think we lost them again. We'll give this one more try. Hi to Pat. Hello. Welcome to the show. Hello? Hello?
Hello? I'm trying to call you back at the other number.
Okay, let's try that then. Okay, I'll close this. So while Gerard calls back on the other number, because it seems like we're having some Facebook Live issues tonight, let me make sure the Skype is open so that when it calls, it will go through and not come through to... Here we go. Hello? Hello? So if you're listening, Gerard, call back because we've got like 5 minutes left to talk. And I know it's not your fault. It's all with technology issues. So call us back. You have the number. And while we're waiting for Gerard to call back, let's take a look at the live feed. It keeps saying the live video interrupting. How about conservative Facebook pages censoring and banning persons for spreading correct information. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, hello.
Hi, Gerard. So welcome back to the show. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now to help the first responders and veterans, etc., in your area.
Well, we have a foundation that's called Heroes for Our Heroes, and it started way back on 9/11, 2001. Donato Panico started it, and he was bringing food to the first responders. And then as the years went on, every anniversary he would bring 3,000 heroes to all the various police stations and fire stations in New York City.
Right.
And on Christmas and Thanksgiving, we started to do a collection and take hams and turkeys down to the VA for the veterans. And every year since then, we've been doing this. And it's going well, and we want it to continue and to get bigger.
Absolutely. So tell us, so obviously there are ways that people can help you. I know not everyone can help financially, but tell us about the ways that people can help you.
Well, any small donation we would accept.
Right.
And, people can come down and help us in our area in Northport, come down to the veterans, the VA hospital there. Saturday, December 22nd, at 12 o'clock, we will be giving away roughly 1,000 hams and turkeys.
Wow.
Yeah, to all the veterans.
That's a lot of turkey dinners.
In the neighborhood. Yes.
So where do you get who funds you? Where do you get your money from? Is it all from donations? Do you get any help from the government?
We have applied for a few grants, but nothing has come in for us as far as that goes yet. And right now, it's all from private donations that we collect. We've had a couple of fundraisers and some stuff to get some money, but it's mostly private donations.
Right. The website information is on the X-Rad Facebook page for today. And I just want to ask you, how did you start to get involved in this? Because you were a police officer, is that right?
Yes.
Right.
I'm retired from the New York City Police Department, and I was still active with the PBA, which is the union for the police department. And we help Heroes for Our Heroes, on Thanksgiving. The PBA sends us a nice donation every year.
Right.
And they come down and they help us distribute turkeys and hams. And when I retired from the police department, I couldn't find a better place to be than with this group of heroes and doing this work.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, Gerard, we do have to leave it there. The website address is on, as I said, the X-Rad Facebook page for today. If you can't help financially, there are other ways to help. And there are like local chapters of Heroes for Heroes. Thank you so much for joining us today, Gerard, and you have a fabulous weekend and a wonderful Christmas.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was Gerard from Heroes for Our Heroes. Make sure you check them out. Check out your local chapter. If you are in New York on the 22nd, make sure to go along and give them a hand with their turkey drive. I call it a turkey drive. I don't know if it's actually officially a turkey drive. And do turkeys have to have a license to drive? That would be my next question. I am joking, of course. Because I'm a comedian, folks. Okay, so our next guest was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome at the age of 8. Dylon Vogt is now navigating his life as an adult with autism spectrum disorder. He is candid about his struggles, hoping his story can help others on the spectrum as well as their families. Let's see if we can get Dylorn on without all of the technical issues that we've been having tonight. So keep your fingers crossed out there. Send out some prayers. And every time we upset Facebook, they make us freeze. So fingers crossed. So it's ringing and it's connecting and we're connected. Let's see if we can hear Dylon. Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Hi, welcome to the show. How is the world with you?
Good. You?
I am fabulous. It's freezing cold here. Is it quite warm over there on the West Coast? Hello?
Sorry. Hello.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi. So I was asking, we always talk a little bit about the weather to break the ice. I was asking what it's like over there on the West Coast. Hello? So I guess we're not getting anywhere with the Facebook Live tonight. So if you can hear me, Dylon, call me back on the other number I sent to you. So we'll just wait for Dylon to call back. And while we do that, we will we'll take a look at the live feed. I think the Facebook technology is eluding us tonight. Here we go. Let's have a look at the live. Hello? Hello? Hi, can you hear me? Hello? It looks like we're having connection issues tonight. If you can hear me, Dylon, call me back on the Skype number that I sent you, please. Thanks. The technology is eluding us tonight. I know how it feels with live broadcasts when things don't work. It really is a pain in the backside. Just telling Dylan to call us on the Skype number. Let's go to the live feed and see who's in the live feed. Hi, Mel. Hope you're good. Hello to Lee. Hi to Jace. People keep telling me that I'm freezing. Yes, it's Facebook that are to blame. We're just waiting for Dylon to call us back. Oh, okay. Right, here we go. Just one second. The wonders of live broadcasting. I'm a celebrity. Get me out of here. Here we go. And now the messenger is down. Okay, never mind. We will get there. So we were saying about how... Fingers crossed. Can you hear me, Dylon?
Hello.
Hi, that's better.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good. Is this phone call quality now, though?
Is it what, sorry?
This is going to be phone call quality now, though?
No, it's
Instead of
coming.
the Facebook
It's
quality?
it's coming through the mixer. It's absolutely fine. So what I want to do to start off with is, everyone has this idea about what autism is, and I know quite a bit about it because I worked in the field many moons ago, and they talk about the autistic spectrum. Do you find that most people think that there's just like one type of autism?
Yeah, I think they're going to think that it's low functioning because those are the people that you can see
Right.
with the autism. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. So tell me, when were you diagnosed, and how does your autism impact upon your life?
I was diagnosed at 8, and it has it's impacted much of my life in terms of social skills.
Right.
It's kind of in terms of being able to make and maintain relationships, because often in the case of me, my personality has always been edgy and wanting to push the limits, and so and I like to get reactions out of people, and so it's been a difficult balance, trying to balance wanting to always kind of make people uncomfortable, really, and be controversial, and also wanting to be a people pleaser at the same time, and wanting people to like you.
Right. Because some people with autism are medicated and some are not. And as you said, some people are low functioning and high functioning. Most of the people that I used to work with were adults with very low functioning autism. Some with not even speech, no speech or language skills. So do you find you have to tell people that you're autistic, or is it fun to just let them find out?
I've found that it honestly doesn't make any difference whether I tell people I am or not, because it doesn't seem like I have autism to people, and it doesn't look like I have it. And
right.
So even if I tell them, as soon as I step out of line and do the wrong thing, or give people a negative reaction of any kind, whether it's offending them or saying something that that doesn't go over right, their knowledge of my autism goes out the window, and they don't care. Right.
So you wrote a book about this called "Bad Choices Make Good Stories." Tell us about what your aims and objectives were with that, and what kind of response you've had.
Well, my aims were to kind of just I did a previous book I co-wrote with my father, and I wrote takes on my life after each chapter, and kind of my version of events. And so people were saying that they wanted a whole book of my takes, so that's what this is. And it's also the first book with emojis, which is pretty cool. It has emojis throughout the whole book.
Right.
And have you gotten a chance to read any of it?
No, I haven't. I haven't received a copy yet, but I saw some of it online. I thought that was an interesting. Where did that idea come from? Because like in TV shows here in the UK now, when people are texting, they're kind of like showing the text and the emojis, because a lot of people don't know what all of the emojis mean, do they?
Yeah, well, I kept the basic ones, so you'll definitely know, and I think they help express my points, and I just thought it was a great marketing idea, because no one else has done that.
Definitely.
And I was surprised that I was the first person to come up with it.
Right. So what kind of response have you had from the autistic community? Because I know I'm a disabled person. I use a wheelchair, and often when I talk about my disability, and I hate that word, or how my disability affects me, sometimes people within the disabled community get pissed off and say, well, it's not like that for me. What kind of response have you had from the autistic community?
People really appreciate the take that I give, and the kind of the light that I shed onto how an autistic person thinks, and people have been really liking the way that I describe my thought process in many different events in my life, and people are really liking it.
Right. Now it's a huge thing for a person with autism to write a book, but you also do motivational speaking too, don't you? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I do speeches at conferences and other kind of gatherings, pretty much anywhere there's a stage. And I've done ones where I talk to the HR conferences about how they can better help someone with autism in the workplace. And, one example is they need to give very specific instructions. And however specific you think the instructions are, it needs to
Right.
And so that's a big thing. And then I've done it in front of schools, and I talk about my experiences trying to make friends. And one thing I like to do is break down cliches, like there is no such thing as normal is a cliche I like to break down and make people rethink. Because growing up for 27 years, being very not normal, I can tell you that there absolutely is a such thing as normal.
Right,
and
absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with aspiring to be normal, and I tell all the normies in the audience, if you're normal, you're okay just the way you are.
Right, absolutely. And it's just as okay, I've never considered myself to be normal, in parentheses. And I think that that's just as valid, too. I want to ask you a little bit about the employment side of things, because, I was surprised, I've lived my life between the United States and the United Kingdom, and I was very surprised that when I came back here, how much more these things were on the agenda from a perspective of employers actually, giving two shakes of a lamb's tail about people with these kind of issues and wanting to do more to employ them and make sure that the workplace offered a needs-led response rather than just kind of, shunning people and giving them the attitude that they used to get 20 years ago. How impressed are you with how things have changed in the workforce?
Well, I don't know that there has been a whole lot of progress in the work, but the thing is that they're very accommodating to people who have a visible disability.
Right.
The issue is people who have an invisible disability like mine.
Right.
Which is one where you can't, high functioning, where you can't tell if someone has autism or not. That's the issue. Right.
So is some of the stuff you're doing working towards kind of highlighting that and to kind of encourage more support in that area?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because you're going against kind of human psychology. People are going to, if you come off as normal, people are going to perceive you as normal, and they're going to see you doing things like not following instructions the way you were supposed to, or saying things that are inappropriate or whatever, and they're not going to process that as someone with a disability making a mistake because of their disability.
Right.
They're going to process that. So I don't really know what the solution is, short of wearing a sign on my, on my chest that says, "Remember, I have autism." Right.
Yeah. Tattoos are good. Obviously, I'm joking. So when you meet, this is the thing. I find in my everyday life, people are never sure how to approach it, because obviously as a wheelchair user I'm kind of sitting at a certain level, and some people will get down and they'll pat you on the head like a child, that kind of thing. One thing that I always say, because one of the things I used to do was a disability awareness training, was about this kind of needs-led response. Do you think people should always be kind of looking to help, or do you think that they should wait to be asked with regards to people with autism?
Sorry, what was the question?
Do you think that people should wait to be asked to give assistance to people with autism, or do you think they should just jump in? Because I think it can get a little bit scary sometimes.
Yeah, one thing I've realized is that I don't mind and tell everybody that I have autism in the workplace, and then if that results in my coworkers, after being talked to, by HR, if that results in them treating me kind of like I'm special, quote unquote, I'm fine with that as long as it means I can keep the job.
Right.
And so it's really, I don't mind my coworkers treating me with kid gloves, because 99% of my life I have to be treated as if I do not have a disability, and I'm always having to meet the standards that are put on me, which are not necessarily fair, but that's how it is. So if the workplace is going to be the one place where people are treating me with kid gloves, then that's fine.
Absolutely. And I don't know about you, but anywhere I go, I have to phone ahead and make sure the doors are wide enough for the wheelchair and that there's accessible parking, and kind of things like that. How does your autism impinge on your everyday life, with regards to kind of maintaining and normalizing situations?
How does it relate to my everyday life?
Yeah.
Well, I would say, I mean, as of now, I think I might be speaking too soon, but I think I've pretty much fixed 99% of the issues that would be caused by my autism socially. Like, I don't feel like I make mistakes socially anymore that are beyond what a neurotypical person might make, which is neurotypical people tend to make mistakes socially on a scale of 1 to 10. They tend to be in the range of a 1 or a 2.
Right.
And I don't think that I make too many mistakes, very seldom, that are beyond that range anymore. But it used to constantly, one big way it affected me is my maturity level. My maturity level took a long time to reach, an appropriate age. Like, it was always very delayed. So I was very immature for my age. And so, it was like, if you met me when I was 19, I had the maturity level of probably like a 13 or 14-year-old. And so, I was just had a lot of energy and, was just very kind of adolescent at that age. And so, the way that I see most of my struggles, many of my struggles honestly come from, being a straight male is just as much of a struggle as having autism, I think, at this point in my life. The way that straight men are treated in our society is like second-class citizens, especially if you're a straight white male. So.
Right. So what about gay white males and how they're treated in society?
From my perspective, they're treated pretty good. They tend to be very popular, tend to have lots of people wanting to be their friends.
Right.
Lots of girls certainly wanting to be their friends. And everybody's afraid to do anything to them because you'll have, big organizations coming after you to get you fired from your job. I don't have any organizations fighting for me.
No. Well, for transparency, I'm gay, and I totally agree with you, and I have huge issues with the the commercially led LGBT leadership because unless there's a problem, there's no money to be made. So I certainly get where you're coming from. We're running out of time, but I would love for you to come back again, and hopefully we'll get the technology sorted out sooner next time. But tell people where they can buy your book and find out more. The link to your website is on the X-Rad Facebook page for today, but tell people where they can buy your book.
You can go to badchoicesmakegoodstories.com. So, or you can go on Amazon. On Amazon, Bad Choices Make Good Stories, My Life with Autism, because there's several other books with that first title. Real Dylon, and that's my stage name, and that's on all platforms. You take your pick, and it's REAL, Real, and then DIELAWN. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram. You take your pick, or all of them.
Absolutely, and all of those are on the flyer for today. So go and check those out. Follow Dylon on social media. Go and check out his book, and hopefully we haven't put him off too much to come back and join us again and talk about this. Our next guest is trying to call in. I'm hoping he's gonna call again, and we will bring him on. He is, of course, Thomas S. Schmitz. He is an editor with Conservatives for Palin.com, and he is also... Welcome back to the show, Thomas. How is the world with you?
Guten Tag.
Hello.
I'm fine. How are you?
I am wonderful. We've had some technical problems tonight, but we are getting there. I don't know if you heard the last call a bit.
What are you guys talking about?
We were talking about autism, but he was saying how difficult it was for straight white men in the community because they don't have organizations like the LGBT do to come and beat you with a big stick when they look at you in the wrong direction, which I thought was quite interesting commentary.
Oh my goodness. I don't understand, but if it has something to do with the commercially driven LGBTQ, then
That's
Lord help us.
absolutely.
I just don't know what to say. I mean, they're just crazier than,
Absolutely. They are worried.
X on a June bug.
Absolutely. So before we, there's someone asking for a shout out. So I'm just going to say hi to Victor Real, who's in Brazil. And he said, is a chupo peroca, which I don't speak Portuguese. So is it Portuguese they speak in Brazil?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I thought so too. So hi out there in Brazil, to everybody else who is watching. So there's so much to talk about. Let's jump right in. So the caravan of economic migrants have moved from Central America to Mexico, pushing past border checkpoints and clashing with officials. Thousands are now near the U.S.-Mexico border, creating chaos in places like Tijuana, even while insisting they're fleeing oppression and want a better life, which America is apparently obliged to give them. Yeah, whatever. Now, the caravans are now making demands from the United States, and it's almost impossible to see it as anything other than mass extortion. Members marched on the U.S. consulate in Tijuana to demand that either they be granted entry across the border or be paid £50,000 each to go home. Yeah, again, whatever. And then demanding that they be processed quicker through the system in greater numbers and halted deportations. Now, caravan organizers have declared it was essentially reparations for what the United States stole from Central America. It's worth remembering that the Mexican government previously offered visas and at least basic jobs for the migrant. Now, the vast majority refused, so not that refugee then, are they? They gave the U.S. consulate 72 hours to respond. How nice of them. So what do you make of this, and is it time to start using landmines with these people?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is nothing short of an invasion. I mean, when you have two countries and you're at the border and one country is saying, no, don't come in, and the other country, the people there are saying, we're going to come anyways,
yeah.
That's a declaration of war, and, all bets are off. So, they need to knock this off, and it's just so tiring. And, the racism claims, and I can't remember the last time that I talked with you on this show, but was it under President Obama or President Trump?
I think we have spoken since President Trump came into office.
Okay, because my point was that, for 8 years, if we disagreed with the president, we were racist. And now, if we agree with the president, we're racist.
Yeah.
And so, that whole tired-ass thing, were we allowed to say that?
You just did, so don't worry.
We just need to knock it off and go back to wherever they came from.
Right.
We don't need more people from penniless hot countries.
Yeah, exactly.
But the biggest thing is the Congress. They really need to fix this, because it used to be really easy for rocket scientists and physicists from Eastern Europe to get in here, and very difficult for people from penniless hot countries with no skills and 10 kids. It used to be very difficult. Then in the 60s, it was Senator Ted Kennedy who introduced, and they ended up passing that immigration bill that flipped it to make it very easy for people from penniless hot countries with no skills and 10 kids, and very difficult for rocket scientists and physicists from Eastern Europe to come. And, at the time, it was argued they were given this scenario that we're in today. And Ted Kennedy and the Democrats said, oh, that will never happen. That's racist talk. And da-da-da-da-da. Well, look, here we are. They need to go back and just undo it and make it the other way, because it works better the other way.
Absolutely, because the thing is, for me, I think we've got enough with regards to American people, and it's the same in the UK too. If you're coming to a country and you haven't paid into the system, why should you be allowed to take out of the pot? Because for me, that pot of money is for people that have paid into that, and then when they get into trouble or can't work for a period of time, then they should be able to dip into that pot. That pot is not for people from, hot countries with no skills to come and just take from. I mean, $50,000. Who do they think they're kidding?
Oh, I know. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the media really is so complicit in this, because now, that little girl died or whatever at the border, and so I'm sure every channel has pictures of, the sad little beautiful girl that died, and, emotion, feelings, and, logic gets swept under the rug.
Yes, absolutely. So where do you kind of think this is going to go? Because I get the impression, and quite rightly so with Donald Trump, that he's not taking any crap from these economic migrants. Let's forget about the word refugee, because there's no way these people are refugees. So why should they be given any credence? Maybe I could move to, maybe I could get the Moroccan government to give me a house there and feed me and furnish that house and all of those things, because it's quite a nice place. I visited it. Maybe they could do that. If not, they should give me $50,000, if they're not going to do that. That's just as ridiculous, surely.
Oh, it's absolutely ridiculous. No one is entitled to live here. You have to be born here, or you have to enter the country legally.
Right.
That's not my opinion. That's just how it is. It's very easy to understand. Even the stupid people can get that. You come in the country legally, or you were born here, and that's how it works.
Right.
It's really not that hard.
Absolutely.
And they need to go back to wherever they came from. We're under no obligation to feed and clothe and health care and school and everything for all these people. We've got starving children in North Hollywood.
Yeah.
I mean, what about the kids
exactly.
up there, we've got our own problems, and we don't need to import more problems.
No, and the thing is my grandmother used to say, my grandmother on my mother's side was from Yorkshire, and she used to say charity begins at home, and it really does. Why are we still giving aid to other countries and forking out for other countries when, as you say, there are kids starving in the United States? It just seems to me to be... It's part of the liberalization of the planet. Let's just say it, really. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah. And, what I think is the most fascinating thing is those people down there, protesting and demanding entry into our country. It doesn't make any sense. They should take that same energy and vitriol, and they should be in their own country protesting their own government for doing whatever it is that they don't like. I mean, they should be in front of the Capitol or whatever they have in their countries. I don't know. They should be in front of their government's offices instead of at our border, but with the same level of anger and sadness and all that stuff. That's what they should be doing.
Exactly.
That's the logical, normal thing, but somehow they got it in their mind to come over here and demand entry here. It makes no sense.
No.
They should do that in their own country.
Yeah.
Protest your own country.
Not applying for citizenship, not applying for visas on your $1,200 iPhone, So I want to move on to another topic. Just because we're time bound tonight. So the Church of England is prioritizing liberal tolerance again of the clear teaching of Scripture with new guidelines, saying the Church welcomes and encourages the unconditional affirmation of trans people. The Church encouraged the clergy to recognize liturgically a person's gender transition in a special ceremony where baptism would be the natural context for recognizing and celebrating their identity in Christ and God's love for them, the guidelines say. Now, the ceremonies are to publicly recognize transgender individuals by their chosen name and gender rather than their biological sex. This may include the transgender parishioner being presented with gifts like Bibles or certificates inscribed with their new name. Now, the guide tells the clergy to be creative and sensitive, and the minister should be guided by the wishes of the candidate regarding the way in which past experiences may be mentioned or reflected upon, either in the introduction to the service or if the candidate is to share their testimony. Now, the guidelines, that's what the guidelines say. This marks the latest liberalization of the Christian church, openly aligning themselves with leftist ideology over Scripture. Genesis 5 verse 12 states, states, when God created mankind, he made them in the likeness of God. He created the male and female and blessed them. Now, Andrea Minichilo Williams, the CEO of British Christian organization Christian Concern, criticized the church's move, calling it a devastating trajectory towards an outright denial of God and his word. The point of baptism is to identify a person with Jesus as they begin a life of following him. According to Williams, using an affirmation of baptism to celebrate gender transition turns this upside down by encouraging people to follow their feelings and live in identities contrary to how God created them. Now, here's the thing for me, Thomas. If you want to cut off your genitalia, take drugs to become to encourage hormones to grow, and call yourself something that you weren't called at birth, that's your prerogative. But why are the church validating this?
I have no idea, and I'm really not sure how the Church of England works. Are the decisions made by the Archbishop of Canterbury or the Queen?
By the General Synod, which is led by the Archbishop of Canterbury.
Okay, so
the Queen has no say.
Go ahead.
The Queen has no say, really. She's the head of the Church of England, but she's just a figurehead, not kind of like, hey, I'm the boss.
Oh, she doesn't meet with the Archbishop once a week like she does with the Prime Minister?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't really understand what's going on. What are they actually demanding? That the trannies want to, be nuns or something?
No, they want to be baptized as their new personas, or the personas that they're claiming that was there already. I don't want to beat up on transsexual people. I really don't. And like I said, if you want to do, but I'm concerned that the church is now becoming a social commentator by admonishing these things that actually go against scripture.
Yeah, I don't really understand what's going on, except I can say this, how many are there? I can't imagine there being more than, the UK isn't that big, so maybe 100,000 maximum. Let's just use that number, which I think is really high ending it. Let's just say it's 100,000. Okay, of those, how many of them are religious? You got to at least take that, 60%
I don't know.
Or not? I would imagine, at least. So we're talking about a small amount of people. Can't they work it out on a case-by-case basis instead of messing with doctrine that people have been used to for centuries? I just don't understand the process over there, but it seems to me it would make more sense to work it out on a case-by-case basis instead of changing doctrine the way that it's been for centuries.
I think I would agree with that, but I think the guy that's the Archbishop of Canterbury now was reported to have said recently that God was gender fluid, which kind of made me mad because it's clear in the Bible that the Bible says God made man in his own image. So what does that make God? A man.
Yeah, God is a man. Yeah.
And women are of man.
The Archbishop of Canterbury is crazy then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So I understand what's going on then. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, he's using his title in a kind of oppressive way to, demand that his, quote, progressive way of thinking be forced down the throats of people who have been practicing their religion for many, many centuries in a certain way, and then all of a sudden now they're told something completely different. It's very unsettling. I remember my great-grandmother was very upset after, I guess it would have been Vatican II, because she was very upset because they were never allowed to eat fish. Was it fish on Fridays? They had to eat, or something. It had something about fish on Fridays or something. And then all of a sudden it was different. And that just confused her. This is not a college-educated woman. This is like a little old lady who's religious and a good person and cooks eggs and sews and makes her own soap. And then all of a sudden the church says, oh, okay, it's going to be like this. The sky is not blue anymore. up is down and down is up. That's really unsettling to a whole lot of people, and I think that the Archbishop of Canterbury should think about that. He needs to think of his flock as a whole and not as these little demographics to be exploited for some sort of weird agenda that he has.
Absolutely, I would totally agree with you. But it's become unfortunate that if you disagree with these issues or if you take issue with these things, that you become a hater. And in fairness, I don't hate anybody. I might take issue with the things that some people do, but that doesn't mean that I hate them. But the huge concern for me, in all of this as a Christian is as a doctrinal one, and this to me is a sign of the end of days, because when ministers of religion are changing doctrinal practices to accommodate a liberal agenda, then it's over for me, and I can't attend a church that does that kind of thing.
Exactly, and you're not alone. That will happen to a whole lot of people because, like I said before, for centuries it's been this, and then now all of a sudden the Archbishop of Canterbury says, "Oh no, we were wrong. It's really this." You're going to have a very large amount of very unsettled and confused people, and that's really irresponsible. He's supposed to be a leader. He's supposed to lead the flock, not
right.
confuse them. And that's unfortunately what he's about to do if he goes through with this, which is very unfortunate. I really don't understand. Well, I guess no, I totally understand what's going on. It's politics, and
it is.
The church is being used in a political way. It kind of always has been. Look at the Borgias and stuff. But I mean, it's just this modern day kind of perversion of church doctrine that is really unsettling to a whole lot of people, and I don't think it's going to end well. A lot of people will leave the church. They will.
They will, and quite rightly so.
The Archbishop will be responsible for turning people away from Christ instead of bringing people to Christ, which I kind of think is probably in his job description.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You should think about this.
So let me ask you this. This just occurred to me. If the church is becoming political, the Church of England, then should they start to pay taxes? Because obviously, like in the United States, they don't pay taxes. But if they're having such an effect on societal norms, then should they start, paying tax?
That's a very good argument, and I don't think that the Church of England would like that. And,
no.
Maybe that should be pursued, and maybe that'll shut them up.
Right. Well, I'm not here to be like...
Enough is enough. Enough is enough with this stuff. We're not stupid. We see what's going on.
We do.
He doesn't care about the souls of transsexuals. He's got an agenda, and he's sticking to it, and that's not okay.
No.
The Archbishop of Canterbury should be pastoral, not political. And
absolutely.
I don't know. How does it work? Like, is he there for life?
I think
is he appointed
for life or until they found out that he's a pedophile. I'm not suggesting that this one is, but that's the usual norm. That they're there for life. I know a lot of people will be offended by that, but again, I don't really care because, unfortunately, there are far too many ministers of religion that are, operating in this way. So, I call a spade a spade. We were kind of coming to the end of our time, but as a Christian, Thomas, if this was happening in a church that you attended, would you leave?
Probably not. It depends. It depends, it could be a slippery slope. What's the next step? Are they going to have a float in the transsexual parade? At what point does it stop? If the trannies want to come in and pray, oh, that's great. Okay, more power to them. Go, God, go. That's great. But then, are they going to have those crazy sisters of perpetual indulgence, those nuns with the clown faces? Are they going to invite them? Where does it stop, at one point? So would I leave?
I don't know.
Probably not, but I don't know. It just depends on what they would do. They're going to just come in and pray? Great.
Yeah, but that's a totally different thing to be expecting all these kinds of concessions. Because you imagine this, the big hoo-ha there's been about gay marriage, and quite rightly so, because, marriage from a Bible perspective is between a man and the woman. You imagine if a gay couple, two guys, go to a church and demand to be married and demand all of these concessions to a church that really doesn't, accept any of that kind of stuff. Are they going to be able to then claim discrimination because they're giving it to the transsexuals? Why are they not giving it to the gays?
Oh, yeah, and then, then the polygamists can come in and say, well, you let them come, why not us? And then the, people into bestiality. And so, at what point does it stop? It's really complicated, but what I think people need to look at, again, is the number. How many people are we talking about? I just don't believe that there's that many transsexuals who are, can't find a church to go to. I just don't buy it. I really don't.
I absolutely don't. When I was in New York, I actually, for a time, I was church shopping, and I went to a church that termed themselves as a gay church, and I went twice, and the second time I went, they said oh, we'll recite the Lord's Prayer, our Father who art in heaven, etc., etc. They had rewritten the Lord's Prayer to such an extent where it was unrecognizable. They wouldn't acknowledge God as a man. They called him Creator rather than Father because, some people have been abused by their fathers, so we have to take the word Father out. And it was so warped that after 2 visits, I couldn't go again. This idea of...
Most of the churches in L.A. are like that. They don't teach the Gospels or Scripture. They teach social justice.
Wow.
The church down the street from me they had a poster up that said, Jesus was a refugee, And
Please.
It's been like that for decades here. The churches here, they're not churches. It's just social justice.
Are you sure they weren't saying Jesus wanted to be a member of the Fugees?
Right, yes. And I think it's an Anglican church, too, which is affiliated with the Church of England.
Yes, it is. Yeah, Anglican is...
beating to the same drum.
Yeah, and in this country, the Church of England is referred to as Anglican. As usual, I could talk to you all night, and I hope you will come back and join us again very soon, sure. Thomas. But tell people, in the meantime, where they can find you and check out more of what you're doing.
Oh, I'm on Twitter. It's at Thomas S. Schmitz, at ThomasSchmitz, Thomas S. Schmitz, Twitter.
Absolutely, and all of Thomas's contact information is on the X-Rad Facebook page for today. But for now, thank you so much for joining us, Thomas. You have a fabulous weekend. Give our best to Jim, and I will catch up with you very soon.
Okay, thank you, Xander. Thanks for having me, and I will talk to you soon.
Thanks a lot, Thomas. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
That was Thomas S. Schmitz from conservativesforpalin.com. Make sure you check him out and all of our guests on today's show. Thank you to Gerard Leonard from Heroes for Heroes, author Dylon Vogt. Be sure to buy his book. Thomas S. Schmitz, as I said, aka the Tooth Fairy. Thanks for watching. If you've not had your fill of the Gibster, you can catch me later on the Real Side at 6 o'clock. I will see you all next time on X-Rad Live. My closed music, for some reason, has disappeared. And we didn't get 20 shares, so we only got 3 on this platform, and I'm not watching any other. But as I said, we will be back with you next week, and the bells are ringing, and I really do love you all. Bye-bye.
It has been good to me this time around. Things were bound to change.